if you see the place it's kind of chaotic, you at least
don't you see all these flags? This is crazy.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you again so much for tuning in. This is the Realdealfam Network, and of course, I am Andre, and this is my gorgeous wife, Essie.
Boom. Boom, 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 boom. I am the boss of the show, but he is the head of the house.
That is it. That's
and that's just the way it is.
That's it. Well, we highly appreciate y'all, and thank you so much for tuning in this evening. And thank everybody again for all those wonderful subscribers.
I my little stuff. Nah, what? I got this my stuff. All right.
She looking good, y'all. She looking good.
Oh, thank you, honey.
All right.
Get a kiss.
All right. Now we can get into it. If you hadn't had an opportunity yet, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
Been trying the whole day.
We'll highly appreciate it. And thank you all again so much. Today we're going to talk here. We're talking today about our predictions for this 2020 presidential election and how we see it playing out and how it's going to affect the American people and the fallout behind the election.
Juicy, 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 juicy. What you think, honey?
I think right now, I truly believe President Trump gonna win again because the Democratic Party has failed to reach an important demographic of the party.
You think they still gonna say no to reparations? They can't help themselves?
I already know they're going to say
harden
no.
their heart?
Yes, their heart has been hardened. They are not going to support reparations. We've been saying it loud and clear, very specific, what our desires are, what our demands are, and yet they still fall on deaf ears.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things that are going on at this time. These times parallel so many different things. They parallel, we talked about in the other video, the Civil War.
Yes.
They parallel your time in Egypt.
Yes.
And then they also they parallel when the kingdom fell in Israel the last time, where they were battling between each other. Mm-hmm. And there was the Roman forces was outside trying to get in, and had they not been battling each other, then they would have been able to.
They would have easily had the victory.
Yeah, they would have been able to fight off the Romans, but that didn't happen. They was battling each other, and then that let other forces come in, and handle business. They ain't been back since. We ain't been back since.
Right. So infighting, basically what you have between the Democratic and Republican Party, they hadn't been able to get on the same page as of yet. During the middle of a pandemic, economic crisis is in our midst. And yet they still couldn't pass a second stimulus before the 8th of August, and they went on break.
Now they don't even turn on white folks. They can't even get it. White folks, if you didn't know, we told you already, you don't have white privileges no more, okay? No. You're out. Ain't nobody getting white privileges no more. Nobody got privileges. We're all in this together.
So the eviction moratorium is gonna expire, and everybody gonna be on the hook.
Everybody.
Yeah. So these are the things that's leading up to the election. And so even though with President Trump currently doing a disastrous job, as we've said in the past, the Democrats still have no platform.
I mean, you're struggling against your own self. The man is doing such a hideous job. You can't even beat that. I mean, his own party is descending from him. You still can't beat him. What the heck?
Yes, and I think that his own supporters, if they weren't in such a delusional state, they can even see that President Trump hasn't done a bang-up job.
Well, the reason is, if you didn't know, world history happens based on religion. So if you're thinking that this stuff doesn't matter,
it does.
Yeah, I mean, the reason African Americans are over here is because the Pope put an edict out that it was okay for black folks to be captured as slaves. Like he was okay and brought over here. So
do your research.
Yeah, all over the world things happen religiously, and they cause other actions to happen. Look at what's happening with Israel and Palestine. Oh, they're fighting for religious reasons. In the Middle East, all over the world, stuff's being moved and money's being made, all kind of stuff for based on religion. So the white Protestants over here, what are they called?
The white Protestants over here, the evangelicals.
Yeah, them.
They support Trump.
They're supporting Trump for religious reasons. Even though he ain't got that piece of bone in him that seemed to be religious, they're supporting him because he's supposed to be saving them from all of the punishment they're supposed to get by being in Babylon, doing all different kind of stuff here. One of them is oppressing African Americans, and so that's the reason they support him. So all these pieces are moving based on religion.
Right, and that created a perfect opportunity for the Democratic Party. Trump was very vulnerable. They had a lot of movement and momentum going against him when they came out with the information about Putin allegedly put out a bounty and ransom on military soldiers over in Afghanistan. There was so many different things just coming out constantly. Trump didn't move fast enough when the pandemic hit. All these different things. Then you had the death of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery. We had civil and social unrest here in the country. And still the Democratic Party can't get the leverage. That tell you exactly how weak and lethargic the whole campaign process has been going.
Well, you got nationalism versus globalism. And if you know anything about the Bible and Revelations, it tells you don't nobody want to go to no globalized system. That's no. Okay? So the Republicans, the Nationals, they're fighting the last-ditch effort trying to fight against globalized system. And so, I mean, in reality, I don't know why African Americans would even be voting for Democrats. Why are we voting to be globalized?
Well, in the grand scheme of things, neither party is for us. But right now, we're looking to get some tangibles out of here. If you see the place is kind of chaotic, you at least
don't you see all these plagues? This is crazy.
We deserve
in Carolina. With the fires all over, literally lightning fires, boom, fire, boom, fire, boom, all these fires everywhere in California over the west.
California is basically burning down. People are leaving that state in large numbers. The real estate is coming apart. Commercial real estate definitely is a disaster.
Southwest, people can't breathe, 120-degree temperatures and stuff. Heat waves, Arctic's melting, global system, everybody's closed down, virus going around. I mean,
yeah, so Trump is sitting on the platter. The presidency is waiting for the Democratic Party to just roll right in there. But instead, they put a candidate forward like Joe Biden, and then he selects
segregationalist.
He selects Kamala Harris as his vice president candidate.
A wannabe African American.
She doesn't want to be African American. She just like to use y'all to get where she needs to be.
Because exactly. So when you look at her background and her history, she's proud to be an Indian and Jamaican. I don't know about Jamaican part, but she's definitely proud to be Indian. And that's who she is. So she need to be repping that. And now she's repping that. That's great. Don't ride our coattails, girl. Ride your own.
She attributes a lot of her success and personal accolades to her mother's side of the family.
Yeah.
And
kudos to you for representing the Indian population.
Right. And that's who you are. You're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
But definitely it's incumbent upon us as African Americans to recognize when somebody's pandering to us and appropriating the culture. At that moment, they get shut down. That's basically what happened to Kamala.
This is the first time, I don't know when, we shut that down. We tired of that. The Kardashians, everybody else that's doing that need to get shut down. Stop buying their stuff. Stop watching their situation.
But you still have old Democrats. You have the older demographic. They still supporting the party. And then you have the never Trumpers who say any circumstance, we gonna vote for Democrats just to make sure Donald Trump is not the president.
So now look at here, elders, coming to you with respect. If you read Exodus in the Bible, after the Hebrews come out of Egypt, and God does all these miraculous things and stuff for them. Even before they come out, they have to account for who they repping. Okay, and if they not repping the side that God's on, you see them doing all these great works and things for you, moving mountains and stuff, and parting seas and doing all kind of crazy stuff you never even thought of. You get out and then you still want to go back to Egypt because you uncomfortable or things are shifting and changing. You don't reach the end and you don't want to have to make any new changes or whatever.
Well, you have short-term memory loss. You forgot that y'all was enslaved and
you got Stockholm syndrome.
Been working hard to the bone when you was in Egypt.
And now you get into retirement and you want to be comfortable. But that it's time to get comfortable. It's time to move.
Yes.
So he asked you to give account, and then them folk raised their hand and said they wasn't on his side. It didn't work out for them.
They wanted to go back to what they knew. They were comfortable in Egypt. They were slaves there. That's where they wanted to go back. And so that it basically, like my wife was saying, he asked them, "Hey, y'all with me or not? You believe in me?" And they began to become weak in faith and wanted to go back. So what happened after that?
It didn't work out for him. Yeah, you need to go read it in the Exodus. I'll put the scripture up there. But yeah, it didn't work out for him. They didn't make it. Okay?
Right. So the moral of the story is basically that you guys have to change your ways. Things do change.
They don't have to do anything.
Oh, you don't, but I don't want to get smoked by the sword. So I would definitely highly recommend you change your ways and move forward in a progressive manner.
We're just telling you what happened biblically when this, because old people want to just collect their Social Security, and one of our family was like, "I don't want to collect Social Security and die." No, changes need to be made. It's what you want, ain't what God wants. So you got to move accordingly.
Right, and during times like this, it's very difficult, and like the African American community, we've tired of the old ways, and so the curse is over, and we're moving into a new realm, and it's not going to be comfortable. It's going to be a lot of discomfort along the way. But
remember, the trip was lengthened because we didn't do what we were supposed to be doing in the beginning.
They spent 40 years.
He told them to go over there and get that land, and then they didn't do it, and so God was like, "All right, 40 years, here you go."
Right.
So ain't nobody trying to do all that. Get on board.
Right.
The price is right over here.
So the end of the day is that things are changing, and you need to get on board. You can't continue to, and that's the problem with the country in its entirety, is that it refuses to change. All you hear is the old guard saying, "Let's make America great again. Let's go back to the way it was." Those days are over, baby. It's a new breed of people. It's a new message. It's a new concept.
Mm-hmm. And the reason why, God said what did he say? We was a stiff-necked people. We didn't want to share the word, of God with everybody else. So our stubbornness opened up the way for everybody else to come to Christ. And so through us going through all that, he offered it up to everybody. And so it's not just our people. It's everybody, you know what I mean? You have an opportunity to come to Christ, but you can't be getting in the way of his people.
Right, and it's like it's like investing. You got short term and you got long term positions. Basically, short term is you believing in this system. You want to get out there and vote, and you still believe that it's gonna work and this and that. But the Bible is already written. Long terms, the country is gonna fall. The system is gonna fall. It's just the way it is. You can't make it change. It's not gonna happen. So some people can exert a lot of effort into trying to hold it up and prop it up and believe in it, like the Obamas and the other people, the Bidens, and
don't even mention them.
but it's gonna fall. And so it's very important that us as a people, African Americans, you start to pray, you start to read your word, so you'll know where we moving from here. Because when it actually happens and you ain't prepared for it, you're gonna be just like my wife was saying about the elders. You're gonna go to murmuring and I wish we can go back the way it was.
You like, all right then.
and you're
Complaining,
gonna be,
yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna be left out in the wilderness. So
Well, you know how like when you're at work and you have a boss that's like, and then they try to roll out some crazy plan or whatever, and they're like, all you got to do is buy in, just buy in and it'll work. So for years and years and years, we've been buying into this crazy plan.
Just vote again. It's 4 years over. We're going to vote. We're going to do this. Yeah, we're going to do this for you. And next thing you know, the politician got a 140-acre ranch.
That foot on your neck.
Yes, and they living good and your people ain't got nothing. You still in the same boat you was in.
That's the buy-in policy, okay? It doesn't do anything for you. It just helps the system for them to accomplish their goals, not for you. It actually is a hindrance on you to buy into that foolishness.
Right.
So yeah, no, we ain't buying it no more. That's over.
Right. So our predictions are, at least for me, I believe Trump gonna win. I don't believe the Democrats right now. I think they're stuck in their old philosophy.
Anybody in there? Hello.
And what makes me come to that conclusion is that they bringing Obama and them out. They haven't changed. They haven't did anything to come up with a fresh new way of attracting their constituents.
All they're doing is bringing the heat on that man. Why would you bring that man out? No, we already peeled the scab off knowing he's an agent.
Well, he did a good job for like the first 3 years of Trump's administration and staying low. We didn't even know where he was.
Right. Stay low.
But now he came out. I mean, the party is desperate. They needed his help. He's the most popular. He's the best speaker. So they brought him out. But
now the biggest scab they ever had is being ripped off.
They've been exposed.
Everybody is talking about that man in the streets. I'm saying, if you haven't seen our other video,
and so you're so lost as a party that the people, like we say, African Americans has made the Democratic Party as successful as it has been. So if they
with nothing,
and you haven't really done anything for them. So at this time we come to you and we ask for reparations.
We ain't asking.
And then you turn your nose up and you're so bold. That's Kamala Harris. What did she do? Her little move.
Oh no! She's put her only sister girl move she had. Oh no! I ain't giving reparations.
She got black men, did she? But yeah,
only Jamaican move she know.
Right, but those type things, you become deaf-eared and hardened, and all you had to do was just give the African Americans that reparations and basically give them what was due to them, and you just couldn't do that. So you give it right back to Trump. And Trump is a disaster. So it fulfills prophecy. Under his watch, the country has fallen tremendously. Can you imagine another 4 years with him? It's going to be finished.
Well, if you're going based by prophecy, some kind of way we're going to get up out of here. I don't know. But that's what it say. God comes back to get his people. So, hey, you know.
Well, I believe it's this way. I believe the hardships and all the things that is to come is going to make everybody come back and cry and come back to the Lord.
Yeah, you have to cry out for the Lord. The objective is the movement is not behind any man. It's not behind any organization. We're led by him and his words and the promise that he had for us. So that's out there. Means so it's like, you know, if you chop off one thing, it's led by him. There's no ending it.
But if you always comfortable, the country had been blessed. It had been very prosperous. So you ain't thinking about God. You doing your thing and everybody living and doing things. But the moment famine hitting, calamity hits, all of the little stuff we built up, like within 6 months from last year, at the end of last year, your life is completely different today. That's how quick and how fragile your little situation is. So you can't believe in man. You can't get consumed with all his little gadgets, his little spaceships, his little cars.
Yeah, so even if you have money or you have things, if everybody else around you doesn't have them, that endangers you.
Exactly.
So it's, we're all in it together.
Right. And so man just refuses to do what he's supposed to. If you got the Democratic Party, you take care of the people who take care of you.
You have to pay recompense.
They won't do that. Then you got the Republicans. They already in their heart saying, no way, we ain't doing anything for them. We ain't taking care of them at all. And so that's the kind of stuff you're encountering. But at the end of the day, the good Lord gonna work it out. Everything gonna be just fine. But we just want to come to y'all. That was our prediction 2020. It may happen different. There's a lot of things that could take place between now and then. But
they have the year of return. So, and that 2019, that would end the curse. And now 2020, you got all this craziness going on all of a sudden. So it's not all of a sudden. This stuff is ordained. So the objective is to get right.
It is. So make sure you're getting your word. Thank God every day. Don't be consumed with what man doing. As you can see, everything we do is fragile and can be gone in an instance. But when you got your mind, your heart right, and you follow in the good Lord, you'll be just fine and blessed. Mm-hmm. And we thank y'all so much for tuning in. We just want to share with you. And if you have anything, any insight, or you believe the election going to turn out a certain type of way, please feel free to hit us in the comments, and we'll be happy to read them and share back with you. We thank y'all again so much. Have a blessed evening. Good night.
Good night.